Well, thanks to mass production and technology advances, the cost of putting a solar energy system on your roof has gone down, way down, by 2/3 in less than a decade. That means that today, getting your power from the sun can be cheaper than buying it from your local utility. And investing in solar might not only lower your monthly electric bills, but create jobs in your area and reduce both local air pollution as well as your carbon footprint. But while the sunshine is free, most homeowners are going to need some sort of financing to pay the one-time upfront cost of buying a solar system. It's not cheap, most of which start at more than $10,000. So during this video, I'll explain the different ways a homeowner can pay for putting solar on their roof. And then you decide whether it makes sense for your family and which option is best. Now, there are three main options when paying for a residential solar system: leases, power purchase agreements, and loans. Let's take a closer look at each option before deciding which financing method works best for you. We'll dive into more detail on each option, starting first with the so-called third-party ownership model, like solar leases. Typically, a solar leasing company will install a solar system on your roof for no money down at all. Now, in return, you agree to make fixed monthly payments to the company for the next 15 to 25 years. While the solar leasing company owns the system on your roof, you get all the electricity created by the panels, which is usually worth more than the required monthly payments. And if you don't use all of the electricity generated by your solar system, the extra goes to the grid, and your local utility will credit your monthly electricity bill. The exact amount depends on the relevant laws and regulations in your home state. Now, the solar installer usually claims all other available federal and state incentives. That's how they cover their costs for installing the system on your roof. Once your lease term ends, you will likely have three options: extend the lease, purchase the system at market value from the developer, or have them remove it from your roof at no cost. While most leases require a fairly good credit rating, and they're not available in every state, they are an option for homeowners who cannot afford a down payment or don't want the hassle of dealing with tax and other incentives. But before you sign a solar lease, keep in mind that payments are usually structured to increase every year. So you'll pay less in year one than in year 15 of the lease. That may be okay because electricity prices for the average consumer have also gone up over the last decade. So a well-designed lease should save you money overall. You need to make sure that any proposed escalator clauses, that's the increases, in your contract seem reasonable, though, before you sign that lease. Most leases also cover any system maintenance, but make sure you double check. Even though solar panels usually have 25-year warranties and systems require very little maintenance since they don't have any moving parts, it's still important to make sure that you're protected if something does go wrong. Now, another possible drawback to a solar lease is that you can't be certain your system will produce enough electricity to cover the lease payments. Today, however, most solar lease contracts contain clauses guaranteeing minimum generation levels, so watch for that. Finally, keep in mind that leases are long-term commitments that are tied to your house. So if you move, you can't take your panels with you, and you'll need to either buy out your lease or transfer it to the next homeowner. Power purchase agreements, often called PPAs, are another popular solar financing model. Similar to leases, under a PPA, a solar developer will install, manage, and maintain a solar system on your roof for no money down. However, instead of paying a monthly fee to rent the system, you agree to pay for all the electricity generated at a fixed cost per kilowatt hour. From a homeowner's perspective, there's no real change from the way you pay for your electricity today, though the rate is usually a little less than what your local utility charges. If you need more energy than you get from your system, you pay your utility for that extra power, just like you did before you got solar panels. But if your system produces more than you use, your utility will credit you for the extra electricity. One advantage of a PPA is that since you only pay a per kilowatt hour price, it's easy to figure out potential savings compared to your utility rate. However, be aware there's no guarantee that that will happen in the future. That's why you should closely examine any escalator clauses to make sure the price you're committing to pay for solar electricity in future years does not outpace expected utility rate increases. Now, as with leases, the solar company gets any of the tax benefits or incentives which they may pass to you through lower prices. And state-specific regulations mean solar rooftop PPAs are not available in every state. Now, as solar system costs keep falling, loans are becoming an increasingly popular way to finance new residential solar installations. Since loans allow homeowners to own the solar panels that are on their roof, it usually means they can capture a greater share of the long-term financial benefits a solar system generates as compared to a lease or a PPA. Another benefit is that unlike rates for PPAs and leases, loan payments do not tend to change over time, so you don't have to worry about escalator clauses. Today, an increasing number of institutions like banks, credit unions, utilities, solar developers, and state agencies are offering a range of loan options. However, there are a couple of different kinds of loans to be aware of, so take note. Secured loans require collateral to back up the loan. Unsecured loans do not, but they usually have a less attractive interest rate. You'll also need to figure out how much money you need to borrow and how fast you want to pay it back. Just like a home mortgage, there are lots of different choices. Generally, the more you pay up front, the more you save over the lifetime of the loan, and the more you save per month. So, if you are someone who wants to save money on your electricity bills, reduce your environmental impact, or become more energy independent, solar could be a good option for you. Thankfully, financing a system, whether you choose a solar lease, PPA, or loan, is now easier than ever. And while solar doesn't make sense for every rooftop because of varying local installation costs, available sunshine, and regional incentives, both the financial and environmental benefits of going solar have never been brighter.